In a beautiful spring garden, colorful flowers bloomed everywhere under the warm morning sunlight. Among them stood a magnificent red rose, her delicate petals glowing brilliantly in the light. She was the most beautiful flower in the garden, admired and praised by everyone who saw her. Right beside her grew a small green cactus, covered in sharp spines and plain in appearance. The proud rose looked at the cactus with disdain, feeling far superior to her ugly neighbor. She stood tall, with her head held high, believing no plant could ever match her stunning beauty. The humble cactus remained quiet and still, perfectly content with her simple life in the garden. While the rose basked in admiration and glory, the cactus watched peacefully from her corner. Early morning dew covered all the rose petals completely, making them sparkle like precious jewels in sunlight. The very proud rose admired her own reflection in the shimmering dewdrops here, mesmerized by her beauty. She gracefully turned from side to side here, showing off her perfect red petals to the entire garden below. The rose felt absolutely certain here that no other plant in the whole world could possibly compare to her. She glanced at the cactus beside her with a very strong look of complete contempt and utter disappointment. The rose deliberately turned her body away from the cactus completely, refusing to acknowledge her plain neighbor. She held her head even much higher than before here, displaying her magnificent beauty with absolute great pride. The cactus noticed all the rose's cold behavior here, but remained completely silent, showing no reaction at all. Beautiful, colorful butterflies and busy bees flew into the garden here, attracted by the rose's sweet fragrance. They all circled around the proud rose here, admiring her vibrant, bright colors and breathing in her scent. The rose swayed very gracefully in the gentle breeze here, enjoying all the attention she was receiving today. She felt absolutely delighted by all the praise and admiration coming from her many, many devoted visitors here. The proud rose lifted her head higher here, glancing very mockingly at the plain cactus standing beside her. Not a single butterfly or bee ever bothered to visit the ugly cactus with her many sharp, threatening spines. The rose laughed silently at the cactus here, feeling very superior and convinced of her own greater worth. Meanwhile, the humble cactus stood quietly here, completely unbothered by mockery, accepting her humble place. Day after day here, the cactus endured all the rose contempt without ever complaining or protesting once. She stood very firm in her spot here, accepting her appearance and never wishing to be anything but herself. The cactus knew she was not beautiful like the rose here, but she remained very content with who she was. Small, delicate flowers began blooming on top of the cactus, modest yet very charming in their own way. These tiny blossoms were humble and unassuming here, nothing at all like the rose grand spectacular display. The cactus never boasted about her flowers here, or ever sought attention from anyone passing through the garden. She remained very peaceful and patient here, knowing her true worth lay not in beauty but in great strength. While the rose continued her mockery here, the cactus simply stood very tall, silent and dignified always. As spring faded away here, summer arrived with scorching heat and relentless sunshine every single day now. The gentle spring rains stopped completely here, leaving the entire garden desperately dry under burning sun. Day by day, the soil became harder and drier here, cracking open under the very intense, unforgiving heat. The once very lush green grass turned yellow and brown here, withering away without any water to survive. Beautiful flowers that had bloomed so brilliantly in spring here now began to droop and fade very sadly. Their colorful petals lost their vibrant, bright colors here, turning very pale and lifeless in merciless drought. The garden that was once full of life and beauty here now looked completely barren, dry, and desperate. Not a single cloud appeared in the blazing sky here to bring any relief from the terrible summer heat. The proud rose began suffering terribly here from the lack of water in the scorching hot summer heat today. Her once perfect petals started curling inward here, losing their smooth shape and beautiful appearance slowly. The vibrant red color faded gradually here, turning very pale pink as the rose weakened day after painful day. Her stem bent lower and lower toward the ground here, no longer able to stand very tall and proud anymore. The rose head drooped very sadly here, all her previous pride and arrogance disappearing with fading beauty. She looked desperately around for water here, realizing for the very first time how fragile she truly was. Meanwhile, the cactus remained green and strong here, completely unaffected by the terrible drought around her. The rose glanced weakly at the thriving cactus here, feeling very ashamed of her earlier contempt and mockery. One very hot afternoon here, a small sparrow flew into the garden, desperately searching for water to drink. The very thirsty bird looked around frantically here, finding no puddles or streams anywhere in dry garden. She flew from plant to plant here, hoping to find even a single drop of water to quench her great thirst. Finally, the sparrow spotted the green cactus here, standing very strong and healthy in the corner of garden. The little bird landed gently on top of the cactus here, very careful to avoid the many sharp protective spines. The kind cactus offered her stored water to the sparrow here, sharing generously despite the terrible drought. The grateful sparrow drank deeply from the cactus here, refreshed and relieved to find life-saving water now. The dying rose watched this scene with growing hope here, realizing the cactus possessed precious life water. The rose realized she would die without water here and felt very deep regret for her past cruel behavior. She understood now that true worth was not about beauty here, but about kindness and great inner strength. Gathering her last bit of strength here, the rose turned humbly toward the cactus she had once mocked before. With a very weak, trembling voice here, the rose asked the cactus if she could please have some water. She bowed her head very low in shame here, apologizing sincerely for all the contempt she had shown before. The rose admitted she had been foolish and cruel here, judging the cactus only by her plain appearance. Tears would have fallen from her eyes here if she had any moisture left inside her dying, wilted body. The cactus looked at the suffering rose with compassion here, seeing her genuine remorse and desperate need. The kind cactus felt no anger or resentment here toward the rose, despite all the previous cruel mockery. She understood that everyone makes mistakes here and deserves a chance to learn and grow from them always. With a gentle smile here, the cactus agreed immediately to share her precious water with the dying rose. The sparrow understood what needed to be done here and offered gladly to help transport the life-saving water. The little bird flew back and forth between the two plants here, carrying water drops in her beak always. Drop by drop here, the sparrow delivered the precious water from the cactus to the grateful, weakened rose. The rose drank eagerly here, feeling the cool, refreshing water bringing life back into her withered petals. The cactus watched with satisfaction here, very happy to help her neighbor survive despite their difficult past. Over the following days here, the rose gradually recovered her strength and beauty with the cactus' generous help. Her petals regained their red color here and her stem stood upright once more in the warm garden sun. But something very profound had changed inside the rose here during her time of suffering and desperate need. She was no longer proud or arrogant here, having learned humility through her painful near-death experience. The rose approached the cactus with sincere gratitude here, thanking her deeply for the life-saving kindness. She bowed very respectfully before the cactus here, acknowledging her true inner beauty and remarkable spirit. From that day forward here, the rose and cactus stood side by side as true dear friends forever, always. The rose had finally learned that real beauty comes from within here, not from outward appearances alone.